Very good morning to you. You're watching Newsfeed. Let's pick up on this conversation now. Patricia de Lille is the leader of the Good Party, and yesterday she stood alongside other Capetonians in rainy weather, waiting to cast her vote, and she did so in pylons. She speaks to us now.
Yes.
Auntie Pat, thank you very much for making the time to talk to us here. Let's talk about voter apathy, or what is now looks like a big talking point, and that is voter turnout. What do you think is behind people staying away?
I was not surprised at all with the voter turnout. I can tell you that while I was campaigning, because we only participated in 5 provinces, 45 municipalities, and 6 metropolitans. But wherever I went, I had to basically spend time and sit down and convince people why it is important to vote.
Yeah.
And the apathy, I was in the Western Cape yesterday, and the apathy together with the rain, it was just a recipe for disaster. I'm in the urban areas where I voted. When I got to the townships, because of the downpour, we had all the roads were flooded, drains were blocked. And then it was now also a challenge to get people to come out and vote.
Yeah.
The rain just added to our problems. But we did manage to get some people out, and people did come. The moment the rain stopped, you could see the increase in people coming out. The moment the rain comes back, nobody at the voting stations.
Yeah.
Yes.
The talking point right now, Ms. de Lille, is that perhaps this election might be one of those that will go down in history as having the lowest turnout. In part, people are saying, well, it's got to do with South Africans feeling completely dejected that perhaps this voting system is not working for them because they've been waiting for services for many years. Whose responsibility is that? And I put it to you that in part it's got to do with politicians being believable in what they say to people, but also perhaps a distance, that social distance, for example, that the ANC always talks about, that there's a social distance between the leadership in the country and the people on the ground. People are seeing politicians enriching themselves, and they think, but why must I go and vote time and again when I'm only helping to enrich these people?
Yes, you are so correct. The writing is in the wall for South Africa. And if you look from 1994, the trajectory down. So we should have noticed that and try and sit up and say, let's do something about the decrease of voter turnout in every election. Now, what I also found that people are really fed up about is that they only see politicians before the elections. And then thereafter they disappear into thin air. And people say it to you, we'll vote for you, but will you promise that you will come back? And what is in there for me personally? So the choice that voters made was to stay away rather as a protest. We normally see protests, people throwing stones and people are going to the streets. But yesterday was a protest vote, and I think as leaders we must take note of it. But we all must take responsibility, including us, everybody's individuals, that we must begin to teach people why it is important to vote. What is the value of your vote? Because if people use their vote to protest, I will say that is democracy in action. But to not use your vote to protest on election day, it's not good for our democracy.
Let me ask you about your chances now in the Western Cape. You, I think, are coming second last. Do you think you've done enough? Is that what you expected, by the way? Because the DA seems to be very strong.
No, but it's early. I don't know where you come to second last. It's certainly not true. And I think we need to wait for the final results to make that call. A lot of the wards are still not in. The counting is very slow. So for now, it's early days. So I am just happy. It's the first time that we are participating in local elections. I'm just happy with the growth of the party because there's no baseline for 2016. And I think that we've shown that growth already, not only in the Western Cape, but also in other areas where we've participated.
Yeah.
Yes.
Finally, and very briefly, if you can, coalitions, they seem inevitable. You talking about the Good Party contesting local elections for the first time, and
Yeah.
you've said that you are contesting in a number of metros.
Yes.
What is your criteria for going into a coalition?
Well, first of all, we are prepared to talk coalitions now after the elections. We certainly will take it on a merit basis and case-by-case basis. But here are some of our conditions. The one is that we all have to sign a commitment to root out corruption. And as and when the corruption rears its ugly head in a coalition, that we will all stand together to fight it. The second one is that we must put the people first. It should not be about egos within political parties. And we need to manage the coalition based on respect. Because a coalition by extension means that no party got a clear majority. And therefore, you need a majority to pass the budget, to pass the IDP, and that is how we will approach coalitions, should be we approach for negotiations.
Yes or no? Are you willing to tell other parties that you absolutely are not going to get our support if you need a coalition? Is there such a party?
Well, I think it's a bit arrogance, because even there, you're not putting the people first. Because if the law prescribes that you need to get a 50% plus one, and you say no, I will rather see that municipality fail or sit in the opposition benches and shout and not participate in a coalition. I think we need to respect each other and respect the values and the beliefs of every single party and the independent candidates that participated in the elections.
Patricia de Lille, leader
Thank you very
of the
much.
Good Party.